Hello, this is James Dean, and today I'm going to give you a very brief talk about the legendary thoroughbred racehorse named Seabiscuit. Biscuit was born in 1933 out of Kentucky, and he was trained by the premier trainer of his time, a guy named Jim Fitzsimmons. Well, his father was Hardtack, and Hardtack's father was Man of War, still one of the greatest horses of all time. He had won the Triple Crown. Well, that was all well and good. The only problem was Seabiscuit didn't look or act anything like him. And but Fitzsimmons still saw a little potential, so he started training him. And the horse just didn't respond. He ate a lot, wanted to sleep all the time. So Fitzsimmons said he was just hard-headed and they could beat it out of him. Well, they would ride him around the track with the jockey instructed just to beat him constantly with a whip. Well, it didn't work. It just made Seabiscuit a very mean-spirited horse. And that was his reputation. Well, they started racing him, and he lost his first 17 races in a row. At that time, Fitzsimmons just gave up on him. And he ran that year 35 races, 23 races when he was a 2-year-old. And had only won 5 races. And that is a huge amount of racing. Well, a man by the name of Charles Howard, who was a big car dealership owner in California for Buick, saw him in a race in Sarasota, Florida, that he lost. And for some reason, Howard liked something about him, and he arranged to buy him for $8,000, which was a lot of money for a regular horse, but it wasn't much money for a horse of his lineage, which, like I said, didn't really matter because he didn't act anything like it. Well, Howard went out and bought and hired an unknown trainer named Tom Smith. Smith went out and for some reason hired one of the biggest jockeys out there, a guy by the name of Red Pollard out of Canada. Pollard was 5'7", weighed almost 137 pounds. He was huge. But that's what Smith wanted to do. So Seabiscuit started winning. And the highest paying race in the United States was in Santa Anita Park, called the 100 Grander, because it paid 100 grand. Well, they raced, and there was a horse in that race named Rosemont, and he was what was called a closer. He waited to the very end. So make a long story short, they ran the race, and Pollard pulled up a little bit. Rosemont beat him. Turns out Pollard had a blind eye and never told anybody. But Smith wanted to fire him. Howard said no. So for some reason after that, the United States, like I said, it was the Depression, and they just latched on to Seabiscuit as some sort of a great hope for them, an underdog. Well, he kept winning, and they set up a match race between him and a horse named War Admiral. War Admiral was the direct son of Man of War, so he was kind of like Seabiscuit's uncle. And he had won the 37 Triple Crown too. Well, finally they set up the match race, and while they were setting it up, Pollard, who was a good jockey but seemed to fall off his horses a lot, fell off a horse, got hurt. So they called in a jockey from California named George Wolfe, and Wolfe rode the horse. And it was a fairly close race down to the final 300 yards. And Seabiscuit just took off and left him, won by 6 lengths. And Seabiscuit only had one more race that they wanted to run, and that was the 100 grander. Pollard was well. He was on him, even though he was told not to. And he won the 100 grander, and then Biscuit retired. And to this day, he's one of the most beloved horses ever. And if you have any interest in horse racing, that would probably be something you want to check out. I got this information from the Museum of Horse Racing. I got it from Blood Magazine, which is a horse lineage book. And I got it from Linda Hale, who wrote a book on Seabiscuit. Thank you very much.